So I follow this guy on LinkedIn named Bram. You can see his profile on the screen right now. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me promoting his profile and content. But basically, if you want to learn and understand how your meta ads, ad impressions, or even meta ads traffic affects your Google traffic, whether it's organic or paid, basically understanding out of all the ad impressions and ad clicks we get from Facebook, how many funnel into Google organically or via Google search. Let me show you how to do that now. The first thing we need to do is create 2 custom conversions that can track both organic Google traffic and paid Google traffic onto your Facebook pixel or Facebook Cappy in this instance. Once you're in your ads manager menu, go to all tools, go to events manager, and what we'll do is then on the left hand side, go to custom conversions underneath data sources. Very blank slate here, but obviously you click on create custom conversion, and the naming convention is really up to you. I will go with Google traffic, and let's start tracking organic first. So if someone goes onto your website organically, right? Data source, futures marketers, that's fine. Yes. Action source. So data source will be your pixel. Action source, that will be your physical shop. No, I'm just kidding. That will be your website. And then we want to track all URL traffic. If you want to track actual conversions like the lead to purchase, you can do that as well. So if you expand on that, you can see all the different custom events you'd have. This is for a new ad account, so there's no specific conversions I want to track. It's just mainly the traffic. So for now, we'll keep it at all URL traffic. And then what we're going to do is underneath this section where it says rules, change that to referring domain. We're now telling this custom conversion that I only want you to track any form of traffic going to our website from the pixel that we're using if the referring domain is Google. You don't necessarily have to use equals, but it might be worth you creating 2 different variations. One is contains Google and another custom conversion is equals Google's. But for now, let's keep it at contains Google. The next thing we need to do is click on the plus icon. Now what we need to keep this URL as is. And if it doesn't contain, because we want to be tracking organic Google traffic, we want to actually exclude any other UTM parameters or parameters within the URL path that dictates a paid search. So those parameters are GCLID, which is a Google Click ID. Put a comma. You can also capitalize the first letter of that just to be sure. GCLCRS. I actually don't know what that is, but that's capitalized the first letter. So GCLCRS. And then finally, let's now add the DCLID, which is double click ID, and then add in that with capitals. To be fair, you don't need to make the first letter uppercase. It's just something that I do because I'm very much superstitious that way. And then finally, you want to add in the parameter and GAD, which is a Google Ads click parameter that sometimes shows up when you click on a Google ad or a paid Google search ad. You want to pause the video. This is if you want to track your organic Google traffic and pass it back onto your Facebook pixel or Facebook Cappy. So now let's create that. It's going to take a couple of minutes, maybe even hours before you receive traffic. So initially the status of that custom conversion will be inactive. I have another ad account that already has this tracking, so we'll use that as an example. But before that, let's now create the other variation of this custom conversion, which is Google traffic that is paid. So a Google search click, essentially. Create custom conversion. Let's call this Google traffic paid, or you can call it Google traffic Google search. Same data source, website, all URL traffic. And let's change this first parameter to referring domain, contains Google, click the plus icon, and now the URL has to contain those parameters. So we'll just do the same thing, Google Click ID, and then finally, and GAD. So the only difference between the 2 custom conversions is that for paid search, we want these URL parameters contained. So whenever these parameters are added onto your URL path, when someone clicks a paid search campaign, in theory, that traffic will be tracked by this custom conversion. I will zoom in. If you guys want to pause, do that. And let's create this. So now we have essentially 2 custom conversions that tracks Google traffic and Google paid search traffic, assuming you have a live campaign. Now we need to create a custom column that shows how our ad impressions or ad clicks from Meta funnels into either organic or paid Google search traffic. So the way you do that is you click on this section here. Obviously, I've named it already. Go down, click customize columns. And essentially, the only metrics you really want is impressions, link clicks, and the 2 custom conversions that we spoke about. So what you should see should be, in theory, something like this. If you're not seeing a similar custom column, just make sure you've chosen those metrics: impressions, link clicks, custom conversion for Google traffic organic, and then custom conversion for Google traffic paid. Go back to that section here and then go to compare attribution settings. And I want you to tick 1-day view. This is essentially an ad impression within 1 day of seeing that Facebook ad or Meta ad. And I want you to click 1-day click. This is within 1 day, if someone clicks on the ad, you'll be able to see if that custom conversion was still triggered. Apply 2 comparisons, and great. Hopefully your UI shows the exact same thing, right? We'll keep this very top line for now because this is just traffic. We're not talking about conversions, and there's a lot of approaches into understanding the value of Meta ads and how it's funneling back onto Google search. But the first thing we want to look at is organic Google traffic. So we're going to focus on that for now as a KPI. And we're going to zoom in on ad impressions first, right? So you can see that this campaign received 2.3 million impressions. And if you go to where it says 1-day view, this is basically Meta telling you within the 24 hours that someone's seen ads from this campaign as an ad impression, 790 people have essentially gone on to search for your brand or company, or have gone to your website, organically speaking, right? Within a 1-day view, you have 790 people going into your website organically through Google search. So interesting insight. Now let's take a look at another metric here, which is traffic, link clicks. So we've got 10,000 clicks for this campaign. And we can see out of those 10,000 clicks within 24 hours or within a 1-day click window, we can see that 223 people have gone on to click on a Google search ad, right? So again, we can expand on what we can actually derive from that fact, but it's interesting to see that this is happening. I wouldn't worry too much about this column here where it's essentially telling you how much traffic you're getting organically or how much paid Google traffic you're getting, because that's not part of the exercise. What we really want is this attribution window viewership here. So let's move on to Google traffic paid. So again, these are people going onto your website through a Google search ad. So back onto impressions, we've got 2.3 million impressions, and we can see within 24 hours of seeing your ads, your ad impressions from this campaign, we can see that 605 of those have gone onto your website organically. Very interesting. And then finally, again, this campaign has given us 10,000 clicks. And out of those, within 1 day, we can see that 181 of those have then gone on to click on a Google search ad. I wouldn't say there's a lot of insight you can derive, but if I were to give you one example of how you can start to maybe extract some insights from this, from my perspective, is let's actually add the 1-day click traffic here. Right? Because that's much more important than people just landing onto the website, right? These are people who have actually clicked on the ad, and then within 1 day, they've gone on to Google to either click on your website organically or through a paid search ad. So I'm going to add those 2 numbers. So 200 plus 81, that is 404. And again, this is just one approach of doing this, right? So we've got 4 clicks within a 1-day period that have originally come from this campaign from Meta ads. And overall, this campaign received 10,000 clicks. So if we just divide that, 404 divided by 10,193 times 100, you can see the number on the screen is 3.96%. Let's just say 4%. So essentially, 4% of the people that have clicked on our ads have eventually gone on to our website through Google organically or through Google search. Take that insight as you will and expand it as you will. That's all things custom conversions and starting to see the value of setting this all up, right? But really the value is if we can track conversions that have led on to Google traffic or Google paid traffic. That's for another video. With this view of custom columns, we can even expand this, right? So you go back to columns, go to compare attribution settings, and now you can switch on any of these other metrics. So maybe we want to be able to see, by the way, this is not really an attribution window that I take a look at. So 1-day engaged view is when someone engages with your ad and it's seen by Meta as a high quality view. can see there on the right hand side what it is. It's when someone plays at least 10 seconds or 97% of a video ad. So let's ignore that for now. Let's look at 7-day click. So if I click on that, they've clicked on your ad within a 7-day window. They've gone on to trigger these other custom conversions. So I will 1-day click for now so that it's not too messy in terms of UI. Another interesting thing here, out of the 10,000 clicks we've got from this Meta Ads campaign, we received 294 organic traffic on Google, and 245 of those were Google search ads traffic. So obviously there's a lot to unpack there. That's just a very simple way of potentially seeing the value of Meta Ads, and maybe we can do a part 2 on this where we can start to focus on conversions. Hopefully that's been useful. I will link Bram, who is the originator of how to do this, and I owe this information to him. And Bram, if you're watching, thank you for posting that. Really helpful from my perspective. And thank you for watching the video. Till next time, peace.